Welcome back to this God, aliens, and the conspiracy spiritual debate, which I was kind of rude in the last one. I was like, there'll be a second one. There'll be a second one. I was cutting this guy off, and I want you to know that we're new and we're amateurs at this, so we're going to try to be as professional as possible. And if my comrade Shredder over here would like to take off where I left off, or where I interrupted him, or where he was interrupting me. Anyways, here we go. What were you saying, Shredder? That you said that there was one more thing that you want to say to these people before?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, the people that make our money, and if you look at their quotes, especially Federal Reserve Bank and the Federal Reserve Act that was created and everything, but the people that make money, they don't care about money. They just care about power and control. It's just paper to them.
I think the thing that you're about ready to say was about, like, if you understand the symbols and the emblems that these people are using, which are not godly at all, which is true, like, and if you just it's all on YouTube, all this information. And also, this guy goes to the library and gets books. He reads like two books a day at least, and on almost everything that we're into. So he also confirms it. But I mean, if you YouTube Illuminati symbols and signs, and also the dollar bill, Jordan Maxwell breaks it down. We're going to keep going back to Jordan Maxwell and saying how much of a inspiration he has been to us, because he's a renegade. Exactly. Like, I mean, this guy, he's a 50-year historian, PhD doctrine. Like, I mean, this guy knows his stuff, and he backs it up with documents. Same thing with Alex Jones. Like, a bunch of people have called Alex Jones a fake, and he works for the Illuminati. I doubt it. He seems like a genuine person that is concerned for freedom in America. And this guy also gives you documents and places to look up these facts. Like, he barely reports anything without having any documentation, because I'm a subscribed person to his show, and I watch it almost daily. If not, I watch all the videos he uploads, and everything he ever gives me, he's like, here's the document, go look it up. Bam, I go look it up to see if he's talking shit, and he ain't talking shit. And this is an explicit show, for you people now need to know that. Just in case you have children watching. But I want to get back to the spiritualness on God. I remember watching, we rewatched this video, and we were talking about a consciousness. That there's this consciousness that you need to be aware of. The consciousness that everything is conscience. Like the earth itself is conscience. He was just telling me that the earth has, back in the old times, that the earth itself has chakras. And that they used to build pyramids near these chakras to where they were able to get powers and enlighten their brains.
Yeah, there was a book I was reading. It's called The Serpent of Light, and it's talking about how the ancients. It mainly talks about this guy who has spiritual connections with chakras and meditating and things, but he believes that the earth itself has chakras and it has a soul, and the ancients saw this and they were able to see auras, and the earth has auras and chakras, and they built pyramids on the earth's chakras, and these pyramids also align to certain star constellations.
Sirius?
In the Sirius star constellation.
Was that oh, sorry.
And actually, yeah, speaking of the Sirius star constellation, there was a star called Osiris in the Sirius star constellation that the ancients called the light bearer, and in Latin light bearer became Lucifer. That's the word for light bearer. But the ancients called it the light bearer, and it was called Osiris, and the ancients said that it descended from the heavens, came to earth, and when it came, it created a pit into the earth, and smoke was ascending out of the pit, and beings came out and taught certain people, well, I believe, certain people knowledge.
And which I want to interrupt you for this one brief second, which is kind of just exactly like I was saying in the Bible about God hurled Satan and a third of his stars, which is a pretty good reference here, to where the star Osiris is an ancient story that it was hurled down from outer space into the earth and came out of a pit with beings, which is kind of like something that reminds me of Satan. And Satan apparently gave us knowledge. Like, I mean, the beginning of the Bible might be pretty correct. I'm saying, you know, that this is a good idea of a basis. It's not. It might not be the truth. It might be. I'm not disproving it or I believe a lot in the Bible because I've read it, and scales have fallen from my eyes, like, and kind of like pixels, like he was saying, like a dragon. Scales were falling from my eyes as I'm reading this book, the Bible. And but anyways, in Revelations it does say that God hurled Satan and a third of his stars from heaven to earth. And you gotta think of this as a physical way because this physically happened. God hurled Satan and his stars to earth. This is literal.
Not only that, but the Nephilim out of the Bible are physical beings, and it says that the sons of God are physical beings. It says that the sons of God had sexual relations with the human women, the human women, and they had children. They bore children, and their spawns were called Nephilim, and they were the men of fame. And this is going off the works of the Bible. So this is if you believe the Bible or not.
Right.
So.
And this is another theory for the reptilian theory too, and then another point. I kind of want to stay on this consciousness thing, because I ended up getting into this consciousness a long time ago, and I think he is just now starting to crack into it. He's starting to get really into it, and I'm seeing it happening to him, which is a very cool thing. And me and him, we're going to try to get back into this consciousness, because as soon as you're in this consciousness, you can be conscious with other things like the earth, the trees, the animals.
Everything is connected.
Everything is connected, like
everything is one being. It's what I believe is that if you look, that it's more like everything is a body inside of a body inside of a body, and that if you look at the universe, the body of the universe, and then you got the earth inside of that, and then the earth is a body, and then inside of the earth's body is the body of human beings and tribes, and inside of those tribes comes a man or a woman. I'll just say a man, and then inside of that man is organs, hearts, brains, the bodies that makes up the one body of the man, and then inside of that there's molecules. Inside of that there's the atom, and then even beyond the subatomic particles, and all of these are bodies inside of bodies that make up one larger body.
I almost wish you can you tell them the books that you have at your house right now that you're reading?
I'm reading
because the one book I'm cutting him off here for a second. The one book he reads talks about the earth shock. Oh yeah, did I say that the earth itself has chakras?
Yeah,
like we have chakras, but the earth itself has chakras
too.
We
talked about that.
All right, I just want to make sure we did.
Yeah, he said that the ancients would go inside these pyramids and gain spiritual powers from the earth's chakras from going inside of those pyramids.
Almost kind of like Billy Meyer when the Pleiadians supposedly visit him, which I believe, which could be an alien race. Also, I want to let you know, when I came in contact with God, his voice appeared inside my head, and I saw his voice inside me in my chest.
About holograms.
All right. Well, when God made himself, he showed me, and then this was another theory that he told that I told him a long time ago, that God, he gave me a vision that he was a box, just a square box, and that it spread it out into the universe with light, and God said, let there be light, and it spread it out into light, and then he made computer programs, which are UFOs, UFOs are God's technology. Aliens, UFO ships are God's technology that are made to make things and do God's work. And these UFOs form the light, which are holograms that we are walking on today. Like the earth itself is a giant hologram or a computer, and our brains are organic computer chips. All of our brains are organic computer chips, and they are tapped into God himself. Like God's a computer, and all of our brains are hooked up to God. Every single one of us that are born has God inside of us. So all of us, if we came together, we could be God himself. And another thing is, our computer chips are also hooked up, you can believe this or not, to a UFO. Like I had this visitation, and the UFO, the aliens can go through your brain. It's a device that's always recording your eyes because we're a science project. I hate to say that, but God made us for a reason, and aliens are studying us, the human soul, the human spirit, the human consciousness, and whatever our eyes see, our emotions feel, are recorded in documentaries. And he was also talking about that there's this library. What do you call that?
If you ask to project, there is supposedly a library Edgar Casey visited often. It's called the Akashic Records, or the Akashic Records.
Yeah. And so, and that's how kind of God showed me how everything about us is being written down, like in the book of life, like a computer. Everything that we think is being written down 24/7 or recorded, because they have this technology that they can do that. Like UFOs are far more advanced than any human can describe. So far, there are UFOs here on Earth that are from our planet. I don't trust them, and I wouldn't either, because I think they're demons. If there's alien deities that are abducting you and saying that they need you because their race is dying, or they need to examine your DNA because our DNA matches with theirs, and they're trying to make sure their race and to breed our races, that's definitely in the Bible. That's the Nephilim. That's like demons that are interbreeding with women that are trying to that are creating Nephilim. So I don't believe that. If you believe that, and because they'll lie to you, they'll tell you they're good people.
Well, what would happen is the extinction of humanity and the overtaking of a new race of humanity. We would turn into something else.
Because aliens don't need to interbreed with us. Their technology is far beyond us. Trust me, they wouldn't need to. If they were from a civilization that was dying, which is a total lie, because they figured out anyways. I just want to let you know, these aliens that also came and visited me, they told me that everything else that is outside the universe is God. That whole universe itself is God. There might be other forms of life and stuff like that, but no matter what, it's all God. Even aliens, you know. But I want to talk about this technology. Me and him, we're going to go from one point to another point to another point, because I mean, we'll talk about one thing and it triggers another thing.
I want to actually, I do want to kind of say something.
We got 2 minutes left, so go for it.
All right,
there'll be a part 3. There'll probably be like 5 parts to this.
I just want to say something that changed my entire outlook on life, that made me a spiritual person, and it was actually a scientific thing. It was just the definition of energy. And the definition of energy is it can be measured in quantity. It is the ability and capacity to do and perform work. And then, as soon as I read that, I realized that there never could have ever been. It's illogical to think that there was ever such a state of nothingness. There was always energy. It always existed. A state of nothingness cannot do anything at all. There's no energy. It can't do anything. So it can't create. To create energy, it can't create energy. That's ridiculous. An act of creating is performing work. You got to perform work while you're creating, so it's energy to create.
That's very good. It's awesome. And we got 1 more minute left. But anyways, there's going to be a couple more parts, because I'm going to get back on kind of rambling. That's what I'm doing, is get back on the aliens from God, because I think there's a couple other things that I've left out to talk about. But anyways, tune in to part 3, which is aliens, God, conspiracy, spiritual. What was the end of that word?
Debate.
Conspiracy, spiritual debate. Anyways, there might be 5 sessions of these, so we'll let you know. Anyways, we're going to keep recording. Have a nice day. Thank you for checking this out. Check out part 3.